Hi, this is Susan Broder from Speak Languages and Travel the World, here to help you improve your English with minimum effort and maximum benefit. And today I'd like to talk to you about something that people don't think about, and that is self-esteem and self-confidence. It's obvious that if you learn a language that then you'll go to this country, visit the country, and you learn the language. It's obvious that you'll be more comfortable if you know the language. But what people don't understand is that learning a language gives you a lot of self-confidence, even if you don't know the language very well. Let me give you an example. So, okay, my children are very lucky because they grew up bilingual, but it also gives them a certain self-confidence. And when my daughter was only 16, she was invited by an international for an international event to go to a place which was in a lost, forlorn village in the mountains in the middle of China. And although it was all organized, she had to make her own way there. And yes, she did go together with a young adult and another 16-year-old, but the 16-year-old had never traveled, and the young adult spoke very basic English and wasn't exactly an expert traveler. Whilst I've been traveling with my children all my life, so they're quite used to traveling. So I decided that I'd let her go, even though it was a complicated journey. Because there were various changes. There was a very short time span with which she had to change planes and also change airports. If they missed that plane, they would have had to wait a whole day. There were also complicated hotel arrangements where if they didn't arrive at a certain time, they would lose their rooms, which actually happened in the end. So it was quite a complicated situation. But I was happy to send her because I was confident that she could do it. Now, very few people actually speak good English outside the main towns, and even in the main towns there aren't that many people on the street, who speak good English. So I knew, because I'd been to China many years earlier, that it was a challenge. But it was exactly for that challenge that I sent her, because I was confident that she could do it. And she was confident too. So it wasn't only a question of knowing the language, in this case English, for communication, because in reality in China, you had to use your hands and feet more than actually English. But somehow, when you know English, which is an international language, it gives you the self-confidence to say, well, somehow I'll solve the problem. I'll be able to face it. So what's important about learning languages, but particularly English being such an international language, is that you don't only learn words, you don't only learn phrases, but you gain self-confidence to be able to face a situation. I have another story. So my sister-in-law has studied English, but not as intensely as she'd like to. Yet she's been traveling on holiday with her friends, and her friends don't speak English. Now, she told me that there were various times when, although in class she couldn't actually speak English the way she would have wanted to, there were various times when they had problems, her and her group of friends, in the hotels. There wasn't any hot water, the conditions were unacceptable, and they needed to change hotel and so on. And she said, well, I don't know where it came from, but I managed to actually, sorry, here I have a call that I thought I didn't have. I managed to actually, communicate and solve the problem, even though my English was very basic. And I'm sure it didn't depend on the fact that she was, that she knew her English well. I think it depended on the fact that she was confident that she'd be able to solve a problem. So what's important is not only learning a language to learn the language in itself, but to gain self-esteem and self-confidence in facing problems and being able to solve them. And that's one of the hidden benefits of learning a language. So I recommend you try learning a language. Probably English is the one that's the most common, but any language will help you build your self-confidence and your problem-solving skills. And that's all for today. Do download by clicking on here my free fluency exercises, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much, and see you again in my next video. Okay, bye. Goodbye.